Brendan Boudreaux.
Okay. I did not know where you were going to go with it.
I don't know why I started like that, but we're in. Now we're officially begun. So what's up, dude?
Hey, I'm just here. I'm excited.
Cool. I'm excited too.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're cutting up a little bit before this. I've known you for a while, and
Yeah.
you're like a brother, spiritual family to me. Your family's like my family. I think what? Yeah, my wife is.
Yeah, she's the godmother of our
Godmother
daughter.
to your new baby,
Mhm.
Jensen Rose. My baby, Cece, my little 2-year-old, has a baby that she carries around, a toy baby,
Yeah.
and she named it Jensen Rose.
Yeah.
So
Original.
But anyways, dude, so I know you a good bit. For those people that don't know you or don't know you well, who would you say that you are?
Man, I just went in deep right away. No, honestly, can I give a backstory before I get into even that?
Yep.
When people would ask that question, or people would even ask like your testimony, I always thought that my story wasn't worth sharing because it wasn't this high arc or low peak. It was kind of just here. And so I've always had difficulty answering that question. And so lately I've started to think, okay, let's just simplify it and you can unpack it. But at the root of it is I am son of God, husband to Cameron, father to Jensen, and everything else flows from that in that order. So I don't know if that's an odd answer to the question.
No, that is the
Maybe
answer.
It's a cliche answer.
That's the answer.
But I've struggled with it's not that I've struggled with knowing that, struggled with how to articulate that well and actually mean it. Do you know what I mean?
That's good. Actually mean it, yeah.
Because it's like, oh, we're a Christian. Okay, that's cool. But is that really what's you're rooted in?
Yeah.
And so for me, that's been the challenge of like, yeah, I've always been Christian. I got saved and baptized at a young age, like made that decision at a young age. But truly having that be the priority, like the number one, and everything else flows from that, I can't say that's always been consistent.
Yeah. We were kind of just talking about that before.
Yeah.
Wait, yeah, like you get used to that answer. Hey, oh yeah, I'm a Christian, husband, father, like an Instagram bio or something. But yeah, like
yes,
understand, like what you said, everything flows from that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you believe that to be true, and are you living that way? I haven't always either.
Yeah.
Because the pressure of the world. It's like we say those things, but we're really living in a different order.
Sure.
At times.
Like, oh, this is here, and I got to take care of all this first, and then I'll make room for God, my wife,
After I handle all these important things that I have to do.
Yeah.
It's like, no. This is the priority. Those important worldly things go by the wayside.
Sure.
If this isn't, anyways. No, but yeah, okay, let's talk about that a little bit. I want to talk about Cameron and Jensen as well, but you said you met Jesus at a young age, baptized, made the decision. Talk about that a little bit. How young? What was the story like?
So honestly, grew up in church. When I was younger, we were at a smaller Baptist church, and it was the Sunday school, and then you come in and sit in with service. And honestly, I won't say I was too young to understand. I was almost too young to care. It was one of those environments where I was like, everybody's sitting in a pew to check a box. And so most times you just kind of sit in, go through the motions. And when I say young, I'm talking maybe 6, 7, 8 years old. And so after that, we had transitioned to OSC, and that was the orange chair days. We talk about it often. My dad had gone after my grandparents had been there for a little while. And so when I actually grew up in church, I always see that as growing up in kids' church at the Broussard campus.
Gotcha.
So from there, that was when my relationship actually started, which I always knew of God at an early age, but when I actually knew God was when that transition took place. And so I remember being in kids' church, raising my hand, making the decision. And at that time, they had baptism classes. So they made sure you knew exactly what you were doing when you made the decision, and which is good. But I remember this too, is we had baptism, and I don't know if you've been to Broussard campus before. So where they still have the tank is where it always was. The difference is when they would baptize you before, someone with a microphone would say, hey, introduce yourself. Why are you getting baptized? So I'm 10 years old, and I'm thinking like, oh man, like I know why, but no one's ever. This is in front of like a congregation, so it's not like just me and him. And I still remember what I said. It's like, one day I know who saved my life. One day I want to be able to spend the rest of my life with him.
Come on.
Which is kind of crazy for a 10-year-old to say.
Yeah, dude.
That's not like a flex on me. That was not me. It was just, even after saying that, still growing up, even now, like reflecting on that, it's like, okay, sometimes that hasn't actually been the thought. It's like, hey, I know I'm supposed to do this, but was it always with the intent of spending the rest of my life with him? Not even just in heaven. And we were talking about this even before, is the heaven on earth concept of, if I'm always in communion with him, then it's not a waiting till eternity. It's already here, and then just gets even better.
Yeah.
So with that concept, that's when I say, as a kid, made that decision, and it wasn't one where I ever looked back. Obviously, wasn't perfect, but grew up public school, played sports, so I was around a lot of different things, and this is always a hesitant moment for me to share, because I never wanted to come across as a better than, because it wasn't anything to me. Like, never got caught up in like the parties, the drinking, drugs, anything like that, although it was very accessible where I was. Not that I was in the worst of environments, but just around the people I was around, the school I was in, if I wanted to, could have partaken, of course. But it's a God thing, because I never had those desires. And I had great parents that were not overprotective, but protective enough for me to understand why I shouldn't. But yeah, it was very much as I was in protected spaces and maybe not the most protected environments, if that makes sense. The family I grew up in was not a perfect family, but it was what I needed in that time. And then even people, this is the crazy part, like looking back, even as I'm retelling it, I had people that weren't like saved, weren't Christians, that looked out for me. Like one of my best friends in high school, still very close to this day, if I even expressed interest in going to this party, he's like, hey, no, like, you don't need to be there. Which is crazy to think back, because like, why?
Yeah.
Like, why did he do? I don't even think he fully understood why, but he knew. I don't know. It's even hard to explain sometimes, because it's like God's provision without me even realizing it.
Yeah.
Is why I'm able to share a story that again, it's not that it's I'm here, but it's not that at all. It's just His hand was very much on me at a young age.
Yeah, you can even see Him covering you when it didn't make sense, or looking back. There's even some of that in my own life. It's like, you saw God's providence in memories of things that could have happened that didn't, and He protected you, even though maybe you weren't even fully sold out living for Him yet. In my own story, like, and it's like decisions that were made or weren't made, but it was like a hedge of protection over you, even at a young age. Yeah, even from people that were non-believers. You know, that's cool. That's cool. No, how was I got lost in your story a little bit. That's no, it's cool. I was listening. That's good. I forgot my question though. But no, like from that, I mean, you said from a young age. I like to ask this to people too, like walking with the Lord from a young age, 10 on the mic, getting baptized. Now you said it wasn't always straight and narrow. Has the path always been easy, even though God was protecting you? But like, have you still faced challenges from since you were 10?
No, no, just kidding. Of course, there's always going to be challenges, and I'll quote my wife on this one. I don't know if this is like her original, but she says this all the time, and it's a good reminder even for me. It's like, we were never promised an easy life; we were promised an eternal life. So, to say, did I have challenges? Absolutely. Being around certain things, there's always the temptation of like, okay, what does this actually look like? Is this something I want to explore? And like I said previously, there was a lot of times where I can't even explain why I didn't have a desire to. fill in the blank. It wasn't that the temptation didn't exist. It was almost like it was there, but it wasn't tempting. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, obviously as you get older, there's just more opportunities, even just in life. Like, okay, what am I going to do for a career? Where am I going to live? Who am I going to be? All these different things. And along the way, there were not necessarily easy choices. It was one of those where it's like, okay, this doesn't really make sense, but I feel like it's God, so I'm going to have to take a step. And I've seen some of those pay off. And even looking back, I can see, okay, this was, God wanted me to do this, but I kind of did my own thing. And then that choice inherently brings challenges as well. Because ultimately, in those choices, He's still going to give you an opportunity to get back onto the path that He has for you. It's not going to say, oh, you messed up with this one choice. Well, that opportunity's out the way.
Mm-hmm.
It's simply a detour. It's like if I miss a turn. My GPS is going to reroute. It's going to take a little longer, but I still get to the destination.
Might have added 15 minutes to your drive.
Yes, which can bring complication.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the times, complications that we face sometimes are even self-induced, but from that, it's an opportunity to learn. And looking back for me, as I remember the times that I might not have made the right choice. Not that it was a obvious wrong choice, but it wasn't where He wanted me to go.
Yeah.
And I think that led to a lot of challenges. That it's all relative. When I say challenges, I'm not saying it's like, oh my gosh, it was life or death or this big thing. It was just learning lessons along the way for me. And the biggest thing that I think, and I don't even know if I'm answering your question at this point, the challenges for me, looking back, help me to know when I'm hearing His voice. Because I'm weighing the fruit of when I did follow versus the lack of fruit when I didn't. And it's distinguishing, okay, when I thought this might have been a me thing or an opportunity that I didn't want to do, it was God opening the door, but it didn't make sense at the time. But I can't just walk through doors when they make sense. So that even of itself is a challenge of, okay, is this God? Is this not? And, that brings tough choices.
No, it's true. Right, when you're talking about that, I'm thinking of, it's like the GPS thing was good because sometimes the GPS is showing us one way, but it's like, no, I know a shortcut.
Yeah.
I know a shortcut. Like, why would I go this way?
Yeah.
And then you add 30 minutes to your drive because there was traffic or, you faced some opposition. And then when you're talking about the challenges too, it's like, for me, in business or whatever, sometimes I think sometimes we think the outcome is the actual goal. But I was thinking when you were talking about that, the GPS thing, it's like, oh yeah, but like it's also like what it feels like on the drive. Like, are we in a hectic environment to get to a certain outcome that we think brings us peace, or are we at peace on the drive, regardless of if we make the destination or not? Like, it's just like a different feeling. Like when we make the decisions, or it's God's decisions, it's a different weight on us.
Correct.
That we're not supposed to carry.
Yeah.
No, that's good. You hit me already, but okay. Let's talk about sports too. Like you were in sports growing up, and you coached sports as well. It sounds like you're a pretty good ball player. I seen you sprint before. I'm like, this brother's got some wheels,
I don't know when you see that, but
but how about sports? Like, okay, spiritual journey from a young age, but also sports journey from a young age.
For sure.
Did they kind of intertwine, and did one teach you more about the other, and like did it help play off of each other? Or?
I would say yes, but not in the ways maybe you would think. So I always grew up around sports, playing sports. I wasn't God's gift to athleticism by any means, but I was a decent athlete. My mom was a volleyball coach. My dad was actually a professional baseball scout before he got into other things. So I was always around sports growing up. And for me, it was always something I enjoyed doing. Like even when there wasn't an organized sport that I was in, if I was hanging out, I would want to be playing a sport. Or even watching sports, which was weird. At a young age, like I watched sports, but from an analytical perspective, like I looked into the statistics of things, which is kind of weird as a kid. But I don't know, maybe I was a weird kid. But I did draw a liking to that kind of thing. And getting into like an older, like high school age for me, where I was very much the understanding of where I was in my relationship, but I kept it to myself. So when you ask like the relationship between the two, I think people knew, like, okay, yeah, we know where he stands. We know he's not going to do this because this is what he believes. We know he's a Christian, which is okay, but I never shared. Like it was one of those where I maybe I wasn't comfortable enough or I wasn't confident enough to actually put words to what people already might have known about me. Which that's, when I say, I don't want to say regret, but when looking back, that's one of the things I wish I would have done differently. I would have been more vocal with my faith. And, you know, what's funny about it is God opened the door for me to do that in a different way. Because I always thought I was going to play baseball after high school. You know, small level, I'm not going to say like this big Division I, but small college level baseball. And, you know, had some opportunities, but it was one of those where I had no desire at any point after high school to do it. That had changed for me at some point. But God opened the door immediately after for me to continue in sports and coaching. And I was 18 my first year in college, and someone had offered me a job just to come on as an assistant. And so I was like, yeah, I mean, I still get to be around football, baseball. That was my primary sports. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And so I did that, and that actually turned into a career for me for a brief period of time. I was full-time as a teacher and coach for 6 years, starting when I was 20.
Dang.
So I did that for a while, really enjoyed it. But from that capacity, that was more of a teacher coach, not from the standpoint of in a classroom, although I was in a classroom my latter 2 years, but teaching from a standpoint of more than just teaching the sport, is just teaching things outside of baseball, outside of football, in addition to the fundamentals of the sport. But that was where I felt an opportunity was brought back to where the things that I look back in high school that I didn't do in terms of sharing was now what I was able to do. And it's really cool to see, because now I'm in relationship with some of the players that I coached, and now we go to church together, and now they're serving alongside of me, or now they're in a young adult ministry that I have the opportunity to. So it's cool how full circle it becomes, and it's like what I once felt was a regret was just a reminder of, hey, no, but you have it to do now.
You have the chance now.
Yeah.
To do what you wanted or wish you would have done.
Yeah. So it's cool to see how the sports and the spiritual aspect have related itself. So yeah, no, there has been a correlation between the two.
Yeah.
Just not in the way I would have thought, honestly.
Yeah. And then being a coach probably set you up for your next position, because we were going to the same church at the time in Opelousas, Louisiana. Come on, baby. Where you got not pulled, but you were coaching and teaching.
Yeah.
And then you got a ministry position offer, right? And then now you moved to a different. But what has that been like? Like getting from teaching and coaching to working at a church, in a youth pastor position, and like different things going on. So like, what has that been like? What was that like coming out of teaching and coaching? And
so
what has it been like?
It was unexpected. I never had a desire to be in full-time ministry or a vocational ministry. It was not that I had a strong opposition to it. It's just I never felt like that was for me, so to speak. But along the way, the similarities between what I get to do now and what I was doing as I was coaching, which I loved, are very similar. I mean, dealing with people, you're building relationships. And the crazy thing about this is, yeah, working for a church, okay, you're vocational ministry, but we're all doing ministry. We're just maybe doing it in different places. And regardless of position or title, because you can go down a list of like, hey, what do you do at the church? It's like, okay, if I told you, I don't know if you'd really even know fully. But I think we're missing the mark if we focus on that. It's like, at the end of the day, we're called to reach people, build lives. That's what I was doing before, to the best of my ability. I'm not saying I was perfect in that regard, but without putting it to words, I was always trying to reach people, build lives. Yes, from an athletic perspective, but also just a life perspective. So now it's just where I do it is a little different. What I'm doing is not. And obviously the day-to-day, like certain things, yes. I mean, preparing messages, certain phone calls are different, meetings are slightly different, but the vision of what we're doing and why we're doing it's not different at all.
Reaching people, building lives.
Yeah, that's not a me thing. It's so simple, but so brilliant of a concept because it encompasses everything that we were ever meant to do. So shout out Pastor Jacob and Miss Michelle on that one.
Yes, for sure. Shout out the Bible. Shout out the OGs, Pastor Jacob, Miss Michelle. And yeah, like so simple, but like the Great Commission lived out. It's like, hey, like, we don't know what this looks like, but we know we want to reach people and build lives, whatever we do. Yeah. What's our day? What are our roles? Our job?
Sure.
It's like that's what we're trying to do.
Sure.
I was even when I used to coach fitness stuff and like coach CrossFit and train people, and I always like even before I was like living for the Lord like I am now. That was always my favorite part. Is like even though I didn't fully understand it back then, I knew there was a spiritual component.
Sure.
And I know like my favorite thing to do was use the fitness things that people were coming in for as an opportunity to like get deep in their lives and like help them feel better here.
Yeah.
Not just like get a six pack or you know lose weight or whatever. It was like that was a part of it. That's almost how you like get them in the door to like really just radically improve their whole life.
Yeah.
And then as we know Jesus more, then it's like.
Then the source of the life improvement is different.
We know the true source.
Yeah.
And so we know the true source that we're trying to share with them.
Exactly.
So that's cool. That's cool. And honestly, God's story, dude. We were going to Opelousas campus because we lived in the country and it was a closer commute. We had some friends there as well, but I think that's how we met you. But then also at that same time, you knew a girl named Cameron, who my wife also knew through other mutual friends, and they got really close. Therefore, we had no option.
Yeah, wasn't a choice.
Yeah, we had to get close. You know. Then turns out, okay, this is a pretty cool guy too. You know, like we did a lot of nickels and dimes together. You know, push-ups and pull-ups.
Okay, I'm glad you
clarify there for the podcast. But anyways, the point I'm getting to, and so it's cool. It's like God ordained, like friendship and spiritual family. Like now. Like we're talking about Katie's the godmother to y'all's baby. Like we're family now, but it's cool looking back. It's like, oh, dude, like we randomly met and became really close. But the point of the question I'm getting to is like I want to talk about Cameron in your life. Like how did y'all meet? But also like just what does Cameron mean to you?
Yeah. So which part do you want first?
Whatever. Like what? Go anywhere with that. Like Cameron, who she is to you. And what does she mean to you?
Yeah. Okay. So, Cameron, I'll go how we met first because it'll lead into that one if that's okay.
Yeah.
So the meeting part, it's crazy just how things work. So I was in New Iberia, and this is when I was still coaching. And should I go long version of this?
Yeah.
Because it can get, I don't know, maybe a little monotonous. But I was in my 4th year. And so what that meant was when I started, the group of freshmen that I started with and had gotten really close with are now graduating. So much so that when my first year as a head coach, we had really kind of relaunched the program. And just when you're trying to compete and your 9 starters are 8 freshmen and a sophomore, it's very difficult. So that was what we started with, and culminated by their senior year. We were very competitive, pretty good team. But anyway, that built a special bond between myself, the players, but especially those seniors. And somewhere during the season, very beginning, I really felt like God was saying, like, okay, your time here is done. And I was like, okay. I'd lived maybe 3 minutes from the school. This was the first place that I was working full time, so it wasn't an easy transition because it was really comfortable for me at that point. and I didn't really know what was next. And so I talked with our principal and kind of just explained that. And he was very understanding. He was like, no, thank you for informing me. Thank you for trusting me with that. And I told him at the end of the conversation, I was like, hey, I just want you to know, I'm not saying this with another place in mind. Like, I have no idea, which is crazy to say at the time. It was true. I didn't. And so before anyone had really known, I started to get phone calls from schools, which still to this day makes no sense. Because it wasn't like I was super special as a coach either. It wasn't like I had this wealth of success or this resume. But there was a couple of schools that were reaching out. And then there was one that I think reached out a couple times. It was Westminster. And this is the point where they had Lafayette and Opelousas campus. So as I'm talking, I'm thinking, all right, they're talking about the Lafayette campus. And it's because they didn't have a baseball program yet, and they were trying to start one. And in my head, I'm like, I don't really want to start a program again. So I wasn't really super interested in the conversation. And we get to the point of talking, and he's like, no, I'm talking about our Opelousas campus. And I was like, oh, okay. And they had a decent program at the time, but it's in Opelousas, which is not super close to New Iberia. 55 minutes to be specific. I'm familiar with it because I made the drive for almost 2 years. So long story is I ended up taking that job, and part of taking that job is I really wanted to get acclimated to the culture and meet people that were there. So I then switched to our Opelousas campus of Our Savior's Church.
Yep.
Which is, I'm leading to Cameron in this.
No.
So the first Sunday I go, the pastor's taking me around, kind of showing me. This is my first time on the campus.
Yep.
So showing me everything. And so by the time we walk into the service, it was maybe 5 minutes into the service. And I walk in, and the aisle leads up to someone on stage. And that someone was Cameron, which most people don't even know. She can sing. She's multi-talented. But she was on the worship team at the time. And I remember, I was like, okay. Like, saw her. I don't know what it was, and I still really can't explain it. There was just something different about her. And I went, sit down, and not in a weird way, but as she made her way off stage, I kind of noticed. When I explained the story, people were like, oh, yeah, you're being creepy. I'm like, yeah, it wasn't creepy, man. I just, I made notice of where she went.
Yep.
And so as we were leaving, she's completely in the front, I'm in the back. And I'm waiting for people to walk by. I'm planning on leaving. I'm not trying to do anything. But I just start to notice, like, she talks to everybody, like, goes around the room. And, as people start to let go, I walk out. And that was really it. I just kind of made notice. And, afterwards, I keep thinking randomly, like, about this girl that I don't even know. I was like, man, I really wonder what's up with her. What's her story? And funny enough, the first summer of me being at Westminster, we're at football workouts, so we're there all summer. And I see the person who just got hired as the cheer coach, Cameron. And she was doing that part-time while she was finishing her master's. And so I'm like, okay. So you would think, like, oh yeah, I probably started a conversation. No. Just, again, made notice. And then the person that was overseeing students at the time in Opelousas met me, and he was like, hey, you want to come check out students? Because I was doing that at the New Iberia campus before, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. First time I go check out what they're doing as students, first person I see, Cameron. I'm like, all right, wow. I'm not upset about it. I was interested in her, and just the few things I heard about her kept my interest. But I'm a rather shy guy. Like, I'd never dated before, and that was, like, on purpose. And so I was very intentional about not stepping out too early. And, not that would have been a bad thing. I was probably a little too shy looking back on it, but hey, it worked. And then fast forward, there was one day after we had both finished, I finished with football practice, she finished with her cheer practice, and we're walking out of the gym at the same time. And we just started to talk, just casually. Coincidentally, it was my birthday, so that's how the conversation started. She found out. And fast forward later, that evening, we were in the parking lot talking for 5 hours.
No way.
She was in her vehicle on the whole time, which probably wasn't efficient, but hey, it's neither here nor there. And I was standing outside of the vehicle, getting torn up by mosquitoes also. And we were just talking. I don't even remember what we talked about. But right after that, that's when everything started between us. And we started to get to know each other. We started dating. We dated for a short period of time. Got engaged. The rest is history. We were engaged for 6 months, and we got married in November of 22. And we've been married for 3 years and a month now.
Come on.
Yeah. So
New baby,
4.5 months at this point. So it's all that to say, what is Cameron for me? So Cameron is obviously my wife, but it sounds so cliche when people say it sometimes, but it's like when you're married to your best friend. And we, like, really looking back on it, for the span of our lives, we haven't known each other for a super long amount of time, like just over 4 years. But there's no one else that knows me the way that Cameron knows me. And there's no one that will ever know me the way that Cameron knows me. So even just that, like the level of intimacy in that aspect, is why I can easily say without a shadow of a doubt, she is my best friend, will always be my best friend. And my wife will always be the mother of my child and children to come, however God blesses us in that capacity. But no, Cameron is just, there's nothing that she's not good at. Sometimes it's even frustrating to me because, like, she'll joke around and do stuff and I'm like, she's better than me at that too. Not that it's a competition, but no, she's everything that I pray for, because we always pray for that. Like before we meet the person that we spend the rest of our lives with, we pray about it, even if it's just like simplistic prayer. But I had really been intentional, because I was like, the first girl that I date, I want that to be the girl that I marry. And I was fortunate enough for that to actually be the case. And the only reason that was the case was because Cameron was everything I prayed for and everything that I wouldn't even have thought to pray for. And what I mean by that is I wouldn't have been as arrogant to pray for such a blessing as Cameron is to me. And that might sound crazy, but it's like one of those, like, all right, maybe I don't deserve that. So what I got, I don't feel like I deserve at all. And I wasn't even bold enough in prayer to ask for certain things that I got in her. So, yeah, man, she's just, she's the best thing outside of, salvation that's ever happened to me. But it's one of those cool things that, like, I know the rest of my life I'll be able to say the same thing. It's like, yeah, she's been my best friend for, now it's just the years might be different.
Yep.
But, yeah, no, I'm excited for that relationship to continue to grow. Because it's not just going to be one of those that's just like, yeah, we're just here and this is it. It's like every day we have the opportunity to know each other more and get better. And also just now we're new to parenthood. So that brings another level of now we get to raise a family together. And so I'm really excited because that's one that's marking as and you know this obviously. That's where your legacy really starts, because now someone can lead it once you're gone. And so that's the cool part. That's the person I get to do it with.
No, yeah, what a cool, great story. But no, like when we started having kids, now we have 4 kids, and like you think, there's this song that I was thinking about as you were wrapping that part of the story, was like, it's this song, I think it's literally called "You Keep On Getting Better." And it's like a song to the Lord, but it's also like with marriage too. Like, yeah, like you're talking about. Now the only thing that changes, y'all still best friends, but the years tick on, and so it's like. But that's what I have seen is like all the new things that we do. It's like even Kate and I's relationships keeps getting better. It's like, how do I love her more now? Like we've been through more, we've seen each other more, we know each other more, we've seen more hardship. Yeah, we raise children together now, and like we keep raising them together. And so like, and the same with the Word, like. We were sharing before about like, dude, the Bible's just on, like I'm just on fire to read the Bible. Like it keeps getting better. When and so to see y'all, it's crazy to think that we knew you guys like before y'all were even married, and saw that culminate, and like we've gotten way closer too. Yeah, our families. But that's even cool to see and to think back. And yeah, Cameron's great. I mean, she's one of those people, like you talk about, that like she's talking to everybody because everybody that knows her loves her, you know, and she's got that gift in her life. And so it's been great to see y'all come together, get married, now have a baby. And we could keep talking about Cameron too, but what I'd love to hear your perspective now that like 4.5 months ago, you know, this great bundle of joy entered into the world, and now I'm always rooting for my guy friends to have a daughter, you know, because I got have a daughter first, because it really like having a son too, obviously, but I got 3 daughters and a son, but having a daughter will just rock your whole world and change so many. But anyways, I'll let you say it. Like, what has that meant to like to marry your best friend and then watch her go through the journey of bringing your daughter into the world, and now having Jensen here and being with her now and knowing that kind of love? Like, what does that mean to you now? What has that been like?
Man, it's somewhat hard to even explain. Because obviously, as the dad, there's not much that we're directly involved in early on. And I don't mean that in like an absent way, but from the pregnancy to the birth, like obviously our wives are the ones doing the work. And that's like, I can go off on a tangent and talk about how crazy that is. Like, and just to see how much, like, I don't think I could do it. I mean, obviously, physically I can, biologically I can, but
also like just strength-wise.
No, yeah, like mentally, I don't think I can do what they do, and with the grace that they do. But no, seeing that whole process. I mean, you have 9 months to prepare, so you think like once your baby's here, it's like, oh yeah, you're ready. You can't prepare for what. Like, I don't even mean just like the nuances with how to raise a child. I just emotionally, like, it's not a surprise that the baby came. Like, we knew she was pregnant. You know, I watched her. And so the first time you see the baby, and it's your baby, it changes everything. And that sounds dramatic. It really doesn't. Like, I get emotional seeing other kids now, and that's weird to me. It's like, all right, what am I doing? I don't even know that child. But it's just your perspective on everything changes because you see it in the lens of a father now. And the crazy part about that too is there was nothing special I did to become a father. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't earn I just did what we're all called to do once you're married. And you know, there's no qualification for it, which makes it even more special, is because like what she is a blessing. Is like, I don't even deserve this, but I get to steward her and love her. So yeah, no, I agree with you. I haven't experienced the son part yet, but having a daughter first, and I know I'm very early on, so I don't want to speak with a ton of expertise or knowledge because I don't have that. Hopefully I will at some point. But it's just so different. It's like when you just looking at her, like, and she already has a personality, which is so crazy to me. No, man, I'm probably not articulating anything well right now because it's not. It's hard to even put into words. Yeah, I don't know. It's awesome though. And all the things that I think we talk about, not maybe we talk about, but people talk about as stresses of having a child. It's not that that's absent, but when you actually just think about her, it's like, who cares about all this? It's like, I don't know how this is going to work, but I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to love you. And Cameron and I talk about this. It's like, she's God's child. We just happen to be the ones that are stewing her now. It's like, 'cause it's not going to always be ours. You know what I mean? It's like, it's the stewardship versus ownership mentality. It's like, it's not mine. It's like, no, you're allowing us to steward her? That's crazy. Like, you trusted us with this? I don't know. It's just the whole process, and I'm very new to it. Obviously, as first kid, y'all have 4, so you can speak more to this, but I imagine you don't get used to it.
No.
And that's the cool part to me.
Yeah. But your posture is right. I mean, like the stewardship versus like, that's my kid. It's like, no, it's like, she's a gift.
Yeah.
And like a blessing and a true joy. When you see it that way, it's the same way we were talking about priority earlier. It's not that the finances or whatever the stresses don't come. It's like you just see it as the gift, so that it washes away.
Yeah.
And then you get that new like dad mode engaged, where you're like, oh yeah, I'll do anything.
Yeah.
For this baby, like there's no obstacle that can come now, because like, I will lay my life down to give this little gift, this little joy, like whatever way that means, like.
Yeah.
And the Bible starts to come more alive. The father relationship starts to be more real.
Yeah. Because when you, like what I was saying earlier about how I see Jensen, how I see my daughter, now that has completely manifested, you're so easily more able to see how he's always seen us. Mm. And like you hear it in words, but until it's like literally here, it's like, man, you've always looked at me this way. And even more so, because he's the perfect father. We're just an image. We can never be what he is to us. So, yeah, even that perspective has shifted.
Yeah, that's what's crazy is like we don't and can't even love our little blessings the same way that he loves us. No. And so it's like, it's even more than we can feel. Sometimes. Yeah, it is. Truthfully. It is. But it gives, that childlike faith, the childlike showing up childlike, and realizing that he's the good and perfect father. It's like it helps even my walk feel lighter too. Yeah. Because it's like
we're always just supposed to be a child. We don't have to have it all figured out.
We're not these Christians that have the answers and like
exactly.
It's like no, I'm still a child.
Yeah.
In here.
I don't expect Jensen to have the answers to stuff. Which is but say that to say. Why do we expect to have the answers going to him? It's like, why don't we just,
we just trust.
Yeah.
Like my kids don't know, like they hear about money or whatever, but they don't know how like commerce works, They do a little bit.
It'd be impressive if they did.
Yeah, but they're not like, oh, I know we can't get presents this year because, they just ask. They just run to my arms. They'll jump off the couch knowing that I'm going to catch them. Like they don't have that same worldly fear that we put.
That's a good analogy.
Like they're not scared. Yeah. You know what I mean? They can think anything is possible.
Yeah.
And they believe it's possible.
Yeah. But that's also I'll say this to your credit also, that's the mark of a good father too though. Like, cause the only reason that trust is there is because it's been proven over time. And I will say this, and I don't want to spend too much time on it, although I could, is that's one thing that Cameron and I are seeing too, is now, again, new parents. We've been so fortunate to have people around us as an example, and y'all have been, in terms of proximity, the closest to that. And seeing how y'all, not even just parent, how you and Katie love each other. Like, that's the relationship first, and then it's the 4 kids, which, this might be crazy to say, that is how it should be. Yeah. The world kind of twists that sometimes, is once you start to have kids, they're the focus. They're a focus, not the focus. But your relationship has always been God first, you and Katie, kids, and how y'all have raised the kids. Like, no, it's such a blessing to have a front row seat to what y'all have done, because it gives us a blueprint to what we can now do. So, all that to say, don't ever take for granted how your kids act and treat you. It's because you've done something for that to be how their love and trust and faith in you has been reciprocated.
Thank you for saying that. But I feel like we've tried very hard to give our best, and that's what's crazy. Is I feel like, man, I'm seeing now lately with like just what I feel like God is doing in our life now. I'm looking back and I'm like, oh wow, it's not from a bad place. I'm just like realizing, like, man, I could have gave him so much more and done so much. I was still so selfish, and so I'm glad that y'all even saw and thought that we did well, because I do think we gave it our best, but I just didn't even realize, like, the continued study of the Bible and learning that what our best really means. and like what I'm really supposed to give them, and hearing other examples of people, whether it's online or whatever it is, of like what their father gave them, and what like, and when I say give them, it's just this, like just pointing back to the cross. Like I realize being a great father is not having the answers for them, but pointing to the one who does, and like they're gonna see my flesh all the time when I get upset with them or I act in anger or whatever, but like repent, like being quick to repent to our kids and point back to the cross. And I even ask Adeline, like, cause she goes to a Christian school, you know, but like I'm like, you know, Daddy's not perfect, right? And she'd be like, I know. And I'm like, who's perfect? Who's the only perfect person? She's like, Jesus. I'm like, and then talking about forgiveness with them, like, can you forgive me for how I was acting? Like, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have said that to you. Like, man, having kids is just so special, man. And I feel like they teach us more than we teach them, to be honest. Really
I'm excited for that portion.
Yeah, dude. Oh yeah,
Jensen can't talk.
She can't even talk yet. I mean,
she's a little limited in her teaching abilities.
That's what's so cool is like the song. Like you keep on getting better. I feel like with Jesus, with my wife, and with my kids. Like it's like how can it even get better from that moment where they hand her to you in the hospital and you get to lay her on your chest? Like how can it get better from that? But it does, and it's so all my buddies, all my friends that are about to have kids, like even with y'all and like other people that are thinking of having kids, I love to talk to them about it. Yeah. And because sometimes it's like, all right, I got to get my finances in check. I got to make sure my job is good. Like no, dude, you really don't. Like just start having them. Like, not for everybody, but like there's no.
No, I know what you mean.
You're not going to arrive to a perfect place and then you're ready to have kids.
If you're ever waiting on the perfect time, you'll always be waiting.
You just have them. Yeah. God's going to make a way. Yeah. They're the gift. Yeah. So no, it's special. So yeah, now that it's like knowing you before y'all had a baby, it's almost like unwrapping a Christmas gift or something because of how much joy I had in being a father and sharing that relationship with Katie. And now that I get to see you experiencing it, it's like I opened a Christmas present because my buddy gets to experience all this stuff too. Yeah. So special. But no, I mean, so love Jensen, dude. She's real sweet. Yeah, I just love your family. It's such a great joy. But no, you kind of touched on it. So let's talk about that. Like what does that mean? Like having people around you as you walk through this life, like even as like individually as a man, a Christian, but then as like a husband, as a dad, like in your workplace, and what does having people around you mean to you? Like how does that help? What does that look like?
For me, I'll say in this season, and I don't just mean like the last 4.5 months or so, but just in this season, I won't even put a time on it. Cameron and I have talked more about this, but I've become much more aware and grateful for relationships. I think oftentimes we talk about the importance of relationships, but I would hear it and I'd be like, yeah, that's nice. But I wouldn't really seek out relationships, which was a downfall for me previously. I think I carried around a mindset that, all right, if I'm around people, they should pull me in. They should ask how I'm doing instead of me go, which I didn't realize at the time, but it's super selfish and it's really prideful. It's common, but prideful is because, well, if they don't care enough to ask me that's ridiculous. If I acknowledge that I need relationships, I should be seeking out relationships for myself because I know it's what I need, not waiting on people around me to give me what I need. It would be like going to the grocery store, pushing a cart and expecting other people to fill it. It's like, well, brother, just take it off the shelf. It's right there. But that's how I was going through life, is I was around people. I was around great people, but I never attempted to pull them in. I just waited and somewhat got bitter of the fact of like, okay, I'm in rooms with people that's like, why is no one? It was a me problem, not a him problem. Yeah. So now just becoming more aware and, like I said, grateful for relationships. And I was telling this to somebody recently, and this is not a flex or anything of that. Like, it's crazy to me that I can pick up the phone and call a list of people, and I know that they would answer, and be open to talking about anything for however long I needed. Like, that's a crazy thing for me. It's like, what did I do to be able to have resources? And even that word in itself means a lot to me, because you touched on it earlier. It's like pointing them back to God being the source. And for me, resources, people that are always going to be pointing me back to God.
Oh, that's good.
So like, some resources are
Never
going
heard
back
that.
to their own knowledge. That's not the resource, because if you're not going back to the source, that
Come on
resource
now.
means nothing to me.
Come on.
And I don't mean that in a rude way, but if I'm surrounding myself with people that I want to uplift me and make me a better person, they need to be a resource, meaning they're a source to the only one and true source.
Man, yeah, the word, literally. We know the one and true source.
Correct.
So it's a resource. Like,
Yes.
I never even...
Yeah,
Let's
so
blow
it's
my
like
mind.
if you're not going back to God,
You're not a real
then
resource.
you're just a source, and I don't really want man to be a source
Yeah.
for me, because we're limited.
The source will never live up to the
Correct.
source.
Correct. So for myself and for Cameron and I, just the amount of resources we have, is probably the biggest blessing that I never paid attention to before.
Because like in the world, we're trained to think, like one common way we think is resources. Like,
Sure.
we need resources.
Sure.
But it's not like how you're painting it is huge. Like, no, resource.
Mm-hmm.
And riches in relationships. And it's not riches in relation. Like, yeah, that's part of it too.
Yeah.
Like showing up when you need it, receiving a blessing. But it's like
Sure.
the real riches is in the relationships that point to the source.
Yeah.
Because the world says we need this, and this. But like, we don't. We need that.
Yeah.
We need the real source. That's good. I just like that. Like, that's a whole sermon. That's a whole message right there.
You write that.
I know, but the resource, like,
Yeah.
no, it's true. That's good. And the people that will, it's the same with my kid. My kids don't need. Anyways, dude, that just blew me away right there, bro. It's because it's so profound. It's so true, but it's so opposite of what the world says.
Well, it's crazy. So kind of how you say that is, I think I treated relationships as just kind of a backseat, because there were so many other things that were important. And I kind of let the world tell me what was important, but through a Christian lens, which is, okay, how does that make sense? It doesn't. That was the problem. Is I was walking around as a Christian, but letting the world tell me what was important. And people weren't high on the list. It wasn't anything that I was like, okay, I don't like people. I'm to
I was like,
myself.
yeah, people, yeah, of course,
Yes.
you know.
But this is what I made the mistake of, is I was trying to, like as a coach, I was trying to love people, teach, help in any way I can, but I never let other people do that for me. And that was a big pride thing for me. Again, I was young. I'm not saying that as an excuse, but I'm still young. There's still areas of pride in my life. But one area that I was blind for years was that. It's like, okay, I want to be there for people, but I'm not allowing other people to be there for me. That's crazy. But now that has shifted, because if I want to be a person that people can go to, I need to make sure that there's other people pouring into me. That I'm also going here, allowing him to speak to me. Because if I want to be a resource, like we said, to other people, I need to make sure I'm plugged into the source and I have other resources plugging me back into the source.
When we face a new challenge that we haven't faced before.
Exactly.
And that, yeah, like, and I think it's like allowing God to be the source too. Because I think I used to struggle with that trust in relationships. I'm like, how am I supposed to trust this person is not going to burn me when I expose vulnerable areas of my life?
Yeah.
And it's because I was doing the same thing. I wasn't letting them in, but I was also trying to let them fulfill things that God is supposed to fulfill.
Yeah.
So it's like I wouldn't even trust the relationship. So I didn't get the resource.
Yeah.
But then once you start letting God cover all those areas and trusting that God will take care of you, even when you expose vulnerable parts of your life to people, that's when Well,
we're ultimately trusting the God in people.
Yeah.
Not trusting the people just for for themselves. It's like, one thing I learned that, man, I'll take forever is you only trust people to the degree that they've proven themselves trustworthy. And so I can also say that to where I'm going to trust people to the degree in which I see God act in their life. So when you talk about relationships and resources, it's like, okay, no, I see God in every aspect of their life. Therefore, I'm going to trust Him with everything. Why would I not? You know what I mean? And so for us, that's been huge.
That's so true. What does Pastor Jacob say where it's like the Church of Jesus saved his life, but the local church, what? Something like the local church.
He said, Jesus saved my life, but the church changed my life, or built my life.
Something
to that effect.
Something like that.
But it's all the same premise. It's like Jesus did the saving, but He uses people to continue.
That's how you walk it out. Like we need people.
Yeah.
He created us to be in communion and spiritual family and part of one body together.
And that's, you just hit on a phrase that I've heard forever, but I think recently started to put a focus on for me. It's the spiritual family. It's not just like people you see on Sundays. Because that's kind of how I treated it. You had your Sunday relationships, but it was Monday through Saturday. It's like, oh, I'll see them next week. It's like, no, that's the people you need to be doing life with between Sundays. So that's even taken a shift. Like all of Cameron and I's best friends are people that we either met through the church or met and we're now all in church together. I don't think that's coincidence.
It's like the next level of relationship. Yeah, that's where you feel like, that's where that heaven is experienced, like through those relationships and through the deep-rooted relationships that you're there with people through the highs and lows, and you know some vulnerable areas of their life, and you still walk with them. Yeah. That's like, man, that's some richness.
Yeah. And one thing that I've taken away with that is like, it's not a better than. Like it's not like, okay, Joe, they're in the church, it's not that at all. But if you're actually planted, it's a different from. Like there's a difference. Like the way I even feel is different when I'm around. You know what I mean? Like you've experienced this. It's hard sometimes to explain, but it's spiritual family is family rooted in the Holy Spirit, which sometimes is hard to explain. Yeah. It doesn't make sense, and I don't think it's meant to all the time.
But you can't even fully explain what it feels like. It's just like, it is greater than without. And it's not greater than what other people have. It's like, no, you want to tell people about it and invite them in. It's like, you got to experience this. Yeah, this is great. Absolutely. This is like real. This feels incredible. It's like peace in your life that passes understanding. Yeah. You know? What has that been like? Okay, like obviously, like we're hearing the fruit of these relationships. Mm-hmm. But you also work at a church, so you work there, and you're connected there, and all the riches and relationships, and you probably get so much. But like, has there been in your walk sometimes a struggle to understand how to like be a Christian, getting planted with spiritual family in church, but also like working and performing at church, but also realizing like you don't really need to perform. Like that's not the point. Is performance. Sure. But has there been some of that in your journey? Like, do you walk through?
It is an interesting dynamic, and I'll say the first thing is if your identity is not rooted in whose you are and not who you are, ministry is going to be difficult. And that doesn't even necessarily just have to be vocational. But I think there's an emphasis on vocational ministry, that being difficult. Because if I'm rooted in my performance, tough. If I'm rooted in how people respond to me, it's tough. But if I'm always rooted in, okay, no, I'm him, and no matter what I do, he's going to see me the same way, then I'm operating the same capacity. It's like, hey, no, I'm here. He's going to use me however he sees fit. I just have to be present and in tune with him. But then, no, there has definitely been times because, I mean, the nature of it, if you're on stage with a microphone, the world's going to tell you, hey, you did good. Or the opposite is like, hey, no, you didn't do it. Either way, what is that telling me? It's a performance. So there's been moments where if you're not in the right mindset or the right heart posture, you can very much confuse vocational ministry as a performance. And that's even, honestly, that's even if you're not on a stage or any kind of platform. It's just if you walk around with a staff title or staff position, you're here and other people are here, when it's backwards. If we work at a church, we should be the best servants, which means
everyone else.
And honestly, I think that's the right way to go about it. Not that there's a status to it, but we should be serving his people. And so when I operate with that perspective, it changes everything. It's like, okay, yes, I have a title in it. And that's why when people ask, hey, what do you do at the church? I don't love answering that question, because then it's like, okay, hey, I'm the student director, young adult director, connection director. One, do you even know what all that means? Probably not, and who cares?
You think director, you're like, action.
Yeah. And so you can say all that, and it doesn't bring a ton of clarity, but also it doesn't bring a ton of value. Like, okay, yeah, that's what I technically get paid at the church to do, but at the end of the day, what are we really doing? Serving his people.
Yeah.
Like we said earlier, reaching people, building lives. Like, that has to be the premise. And so if I operate with that as my vision, I'm good. But if I'm trying to be the best communicator, the best, all these different things, then that's when it gets a little worldly and dangerous.
Or if it's like reaching people and building Brendan's life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you know.
Or say this, like reaching people, building lives for the sake of my elevation or my promotion. Because that's
the new position
sometimes
that I can attain, or the new feeling I can get, or the
for
new.
Sure.
And probably that stuff comes. Like, we have desires that are in there mixed in, but the constant wrestling of that is probably.
It's just always tempering the expectations for, okay, maybe this is an end goal or end result for me down the line, and that's cool. But what is God wanting to do now?
Yeah.
And it's just being present and like, okay, let me be the best version of myself for what he's trying to do.
Who is Christ in my life?
Yeah.
What does he mean to me? What do I mean to him?
Yes.
Like, resting in that. Yes, I mean, like you said, it's like you work at a church. I don't. I work in the marketplace and business and have done different things. But it's the same.
It's the same.
My identity in Christ is the freedom. My circumstances could be the exact same, but I could feel totally different when when my identity is in Christ. My identity is not in my position, in the business's revenue, in the this and the that, is how people see me. Is my identity is in Christ.
Yeah.
And that's when I feel freedom. It's not for the applause. Like, some of this stuff is nice. Like, yeah, we're finishing a remodel right now, and we might go see it today.
Yeah.
And I get to see it, and it's like, it's going to look really nice. Mm-hmm. And if we post about it or talk about it, like, there may be some praise about it.
Sure.
Which that's okay.
Yeah.
But like, that's not the
That's
pursuit.
not the reason that you're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our goal, our big shift with our construction company even was the stewardship mindset. Like, God has put us here. How can we steward this well?
Yeah.
It's not about like, we're the best.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, identity in Christ. That was good. Good.
And something you had shared earlier, I think before we started really, was the vision concept, and like, not you completely coming up with the vision and you're saying, all right, God bless this, but God, give me vision so that you can bless it. And to go back to working in a church, sometimes it's you either get on this concept of plans, processes for people. Mm-hmm. But one thing that I sometimes could get backwards was, okay, I'm here so that I can come up with a concept, a process, so that we're stewarding people. And then I completely excluded God. It's like, I know, maybe you want to speak into this. So it's...
Maybe you got something to say.
It's crazy that we're at a church, and I won't say we like I'm putting anybody. It's crazy that sometimes at a church, I would try to be the answer to everything and wouldn't invite him into the process. And so that's been a complication sometimes for me personally. Whereas, and I think this is probably coming out of a desire to perform. And again, there's a level of pride in that even as well. But always going back to, okay, God, what do you think about this?
Yeah.
and then allowing him to speak through you instead of it just being you.
Yep. Instead of inviting God in to help you look good at your performance, it's like, no, you invite him in first.
Correct.
And then you go out and do the thing
he's
because
been
you know
involved
he's the one.
Yes.
Yeah. You're confident because of what you've talked with him
Correct.
about. Spent time. No, that's
Exactly.
been, I mean, as a business person and obsessed with vision and vision retreats and all this thing, like that receiving vision from God has been huge to me lately.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm not.
Oh, I don't have to come up with this?
I'm not coming up with this. It's because sometimes it's like, it is a dichotomy or a counterintuitive to what we want to do. Like, sometimes when we really invite God in, the vision doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. But it's like, do we trust God to step in that direction?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I've been victim to this. I've settled for good vision and never God vision. Mm. It's like when it's God vision, it's like, oh, yeah, no, this is it. When it's good vision, it's like, oh, this is pretty good.
Yeah, this could work.
This might work.
Yeah.
But it's different when it's,
because I'm even thinking of some God vision right now that Katie and I might have conversations about soon, and it's like, yeah, I'm hearing you. Like, I don't understand this, and I don't know why this is taking place. I just can see it as clear as day.
Somehow you know it's him.
Yeah, and it's actually like, this is actually sounds like it's wrong. Because it's so opposite of what we probably want to do, or we're trained to do, or said we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But it's like, I just feel the Lord here showing us this way. And so I used to think like vision casting was like, I'm going to read all the books and I'm going to do all the podcasts and do all the things. When actually like real vision casting is like shutting all that off.
It's doing nothing.
Yeah. And like, it's like, here's the vision.
Yeah.
Like spend time in this word and in prayer. Even the relationship with Jesus thing, even that's been great. Cause like the word was God. And the word is God. And so like Jesus is the word. So how do we, like, people are like, how do I have a relationship with Jesus? It's like such a simple thing, but it's been exploding in my brain recently. Like, spend time with the word, with Jesus, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's such a simplistic concept, but not an easy concept at times. Just gotta spend time with them.
It's easier to run to all the things that feel comfortable or that the world says to run to. It's sometimes easier in the short term to run to those things, like run to scrolling, run to this vice, run to alcohol, run to this.
It's comfort.
Yeah.
Which is
temporary
understandable.
comfort.
Yeah.
Well, I still fight it.
Temporary. Yeah. But I think we're in a world and society that praises the temporary, because I can always just continually going through cycles of temporary, but there's never a praise of what's permanent or what's eternal. It's like, hey, you don't have to keep running to things if you just, it goes back to the source.
Yeah, it's easier to hear like, oh yeah, do this quick fix.
Correct.
And reach the praise that you're trying to reach, as opposed to like, hey, like, crack the Bible open every day and like wait for 6 months on this decision, like until you hear clearly. Yeah. You know, like that doesn't sound as fun. Yeah. But what's cool is even in the waiting, like there's peace, hope, and joy and freedom in the waiting.
Yeah.
If we run to the right source. Like,
yeah. I think people get caught up in, and I say people, I have.
Yep.
Got caught up in the waiting being the discouraging part.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I have to wait. Whereas you go back to temporary. Temporary doesn't last forever, but it's right away. I don't have to wait for something temporary. It's here right now.
Yep.
But it won't be here, like you said, in the 6 months. So it's like the same thing that causes us to avoid pursuing, I think, at times. Like the waiting aspect is the same thing that we need.
Yeah, like what if we don't see waiting as bad?
It's a perspective shift.
Yeah. And this, like the and I get it. I get why it's hard.
100%.
You hear sowing and reaping
understand.
in the Bible. You're like these biblical concepts,
Yeah.
kingdom principles. You're like sowing and reaping. You're like, I don't want to sow right now.
Yeah.
Sow and reap.
All that. And when you're in the midst of the situation, and again, been there. I will be there again at some point. I'm not saying
I just want the answer.
When you hear sowing and reaping, when you see all you hear is time.
Yeah.
Like I don't have time.
Yeah.
Or I don't want to spend time maybe. And I get it, it's valid. But doesn't mean it's what we need.
Yeah.
What we want and need are, yeah, oof.
They're often different. When those kingdom principles always hold true, like I've done it. Some things I'm even walking through right now is because I didn't sow the right things in the past. So I'm wanting to reap a different harvest, but when I look back at what I sowed, I'm like, oh, how would I expect a different outcome if I was like running to the temporary a lot of times or the fast answer? It's like, it's frustrating to realize sometimes, but as you go through it, it's like, oh, you can't outrun it. It's like if we turn all the temporal off, the truth is always there.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
So that's good, man. I don't even know what started that, but that was good. I don't even know what we were talking about, but I'm fired up. Let's talk about this though. Let's talk about. We touched on it. We talked about it a lot before. I'm like, oh, I should have been rolling before we started. We were getting into it, but like, heaven on earth is the premise of this podcast. I explained that to you already, but maybe selfishly, because I want to pursue that concept. So I'm like, let's talk about it all the time. What does heaven on earth mean? So when we talk about heaven on earth, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. What does that mean to you? If you had to describe it.
I'll touch on the last part that you said. This is the difficult part for me at times. Was your will be done on earth as in heaven. So to answer conceptually, how do you start to experience heaven on earth? You let go of your will, which is sometimes one of the hardest things to hear. Because what does that mean? Like, I won't get anything that I wanted or desired. That's not necessarily true. But there's some things, and this is something I continually have to remind myself of. I might want or see this for myself, and doesn't mean that's not what's going to happen. But God's will is so much better than I could think or imagine that sometimes my desires are limiting myself and putting myself in a box. Which, if I back it up, we would never want to put ourselves in a box or limit us. But at the same time, sometimes we can't see past the things that we want. It's like, oh, this is it. This is the epitome. Well, no, God has something better. So to answer your question, what does that mean? It's repeatedly reminding myself that I have to lay my will down and walk out His will for my life. One, because it's better. It's more fruitful. It might not always look like it in the short term, which goes back to the temporary concept. But ultimately, it's what's best. It's what I need. It might not be what I want. So it's a reminder of that. And it's, again, your will. Where? On heaven. On earth. So it's one of those to say, okay, if I want to experience glimpses of heaven now, I have to be willing to lay my will down and accept His will for my life. And I think sometimes, maybe I'm speaking just for me, that I think sometimes when we hear that, it's like, I'm going to have to do everything I don't want to do. No, brother, like, that's not, like, where do you think the desires of your heart came from? Like, He wired you that way intently. Do you think He's just going to say, hey, everything you like, I'm going to make you do the opposite? What? No, like, that's not the God that we serve. But sometimes I think we operate with that fear of, man, if I'm really submitted to everything that He has, I'm not going to like it. That's not what I want to do. When in reality, He wired you that way on purpose and for a purpose. Don't you think He's going to use that in the way He has things lined up for you? It's just kind of a crazy concept when we unpack it. It's like we get so caught up in a fear of losing control that we never even had. Control is an illusion. We don't have control, but we operate with this grasp on it like we do. And I say we, me.
Yep.
I've operated. I still at times, out of habit, operate as if I have control. I don't. I have free will, but even free will of making my choices, that's involving other people. There's so many other moving parts that I don't really have control over anything. And when you come to that conclusion, it's a lot more easy to be like, yeah, just whatever you have for my life, let's just go with that. Like, that's going to be better anyway. that's when the concept you talk about, heaven on earth, we get glimpses of. I don't know if all that made sense.
No, it did. Walking in His will. Because what He has for us is, like, do we actually believe that? Like, that what He has for us is much greater than what we have for ourselves, like what we can even imagine.
Yeah.
Like, do we believe the Bible when it talks about abundance and riches and joy and peace beyond understanding? Like, the world says you need celebrity headline and this amount of money and this amount of thing and this amount of vehicle or this. It's like,
sure,
that's not real richness. How many times have you heard stories of celebrities divorcing, or rich person that's empty inside, or spiritual has everything the world says you need but spiritually bankrupt?
Sure.
Like that.
Yeah.
I always paint it back to the kid picture, but it's like with my kids, like if they're stuck on an outcome that they think they want to get, and meanwhile they don't know like a big surprise that I have planned for them, and I'm just like, yeah, we can do that. But I'm like, if you're patient in this moment, like you'd realize in about an hour, we're going to, Sky Zone or whatever. I don't know, whatever. Yeah. Like something that they'd be like, oh my God.
Yeah,
like,
much better than what they.
But like they're just like clinging to the right now.
But we're the kid in this situation.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's like we know them. We know, like my kids. I know them. I know how they're wired. And I know what like would light them up. And I want to give them that really good gift. Like I know how they're designed.
And if we can do
if we can think that way. Like even God is surprised at these feelings I have, and like I'm like, oh, but God, if this would just happen, like how cool would that be? Like God.
Yeah.
God's not surprised at.
And the cool thing about it, even as I was thinking earlier as we were talking, when you look back on things that He started to do and orchestrate, you can already see proof of it. It's like I grew up with like around sports, a desire to play in any capacity. He used that for me to grow me and prepare me for things that He has for now. Not that this is like it for me. It's not. But He's preparing me along the way. And it's like He did that on purpose. I couldn't have done that if I tried. But that's the same thing with all of our stories. It's like He's doing all things on purpose. He's not accidentally doing things. You know what I mean?
And the cool thing is too, like He'll still let us go the path we want to go.
Yeah.
All the meantime, like all the while, all He desired was to be close to us. So He's like, all right, you want to play baseball? Like you want to do all these things? Like you want to coach? Just keep taking the steps. Meanwhile, He's almost just kind of like waiting to spend time with us. And He's a good, loving Father. It's like with my kids, like when they come and snuggle or sit in my lap and like hug me, like I just been waiting for that the whole time. Mm-hmm. But he'll let them do anything, whatever makes you happy. He's like, yeah, take that route, take that. He's just here, like waiting the whole time too, and a desire to like not only give us whatever we want, but also like just to be close with us too, and like have us turn to Him, and like want to spend time with Him and have our hearts directed towards Him.
Yeah,
that's kind of mind blowing too.
It is.
It's like, yeah, Josh, go do, you want to do all these things, like all these pursuits, go do all of it. But like, meanwhile, he's just quietly like there, and not even quietly, like that's good, man.
Yeah, it's talk about like concept of free will. If He allows us to have free will, that even of itself is crazy, because if I'm God, obviously I'm not. But if I'm God, selfishly, you think I'm letting all the people that I created do what they want and not, It's just such a backwards concept from what the world would portray. And also that's what gives me so much faith in our God being God, is because it's exactly the opposite of everything that we would do.
Worldly rulers say like, this is how it's going to be.
Yeah. Like,
and
you're going to follow me.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, I'd love for you to follow me, but
do whatever you.
Yeah.
And Jesus is like, hey,
wild.
Just follow me. Yeah, man. He's like, all right, y'all want to be kings? Okay, be kings. Like, go ahead, be kings. He's like, hey, here's the Garden of Eden. Hey, just don't do this. Like, everything. You can do anything. Like, just don't do this.
Yeah.
And he still loves us, still came down to die for us, put us, even in that, yeah, man.
Yeah. It goes so many different directions. Yeah.
What's how crazy how short the gospel message is, but how long and deep and wide you can go. Like you can never stop learning about it. You can never fully understand it. Like, you can understand it simply, but you could also pursue it your whole life and never fully grasp the depth.
Yeah. It also speaks so differently contingent upon the season you're in. You can read the same verse or the same passage in Scripture, but based on what you're walking through, it just speaks on a whole new level. Yeah, man, it's
crazy, man.
Yeah, it is.
Like, even reading the Bible lately, I'm like reading it wherever I'm at in the house. Katie would say I'm always in one spot in the house, but like, I'm reading the same scripture. I'm like, babe, have you read this? Like,
Yeah.
Like, we've all read it. Like, we've all heard it. I'm like, you even get this? I'm like, this is crazy.
This is new.
Yeah, but it's the same.
No, brother, it's thousands of years old. But
like, can you go, like, what? Anyways.
But that's the cool part about it.
Yeah. It's a constant pursuit. It can be, and the cool thing is looking back to as I was coming up young in ministry and young in the workplace and all that, like, always the people that you just spoke to and had so much truth and wisdom and peace in their life, they were always the biggest Bible thumpers, you know, like they were the people that I could think of all these leaders in my life, and they were always the ones that were just in the Word. And I'd ask them these big questions and want big answers, and they'd be like, lean not on your own understanding. They would just read and I'm like, that's not the answer. But now looking, as I've grown older, it's like, oh, that's always been the answer.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. But no, okay, speaking of that, so I asked you a lot of questions, but in your studies, in your walk, in your life, with what's going on right now, like, has there been something as of late something that's like just blowing your mind, or something that you've been stuck on or you're wrestling with, like anything that you'd like to share, like a concept lately in your life that's been powerful?
I think based on the season that we're in, and just even as preparing messages, as having conversations, right now we're in this series around hope as a church, obviously Christmas time, and it's always reflecting on what are we really celebrating with Christmas, and Jesus' birth, but also his birth was representative of the full plan. It wasn't just a baby. It didn't stay that way. And I remind, this has just been a reminder for me, is just the concept of hope. My perspective of that word has even shifted, because I think sometimes we muddy the meaning of hope because we compare it with wish. It's like, man, I really wish, or I really hope. Well, they're not interchangeable. They mean completely different things. Like, hope is coupled with a promise. Wish is like throwing it up when you know there's no possibility. Like, so for me, remembering, okay, Jesus was born to a virgin. Miracle. We just kind of breeze past that one. That's not supposed to happen. It's also fulfillment of prophecy. It goes on, and we can read about it. Lived a sinless life. All these different things. And I'm giving the very short version of that. Then, never committing a sin, yet dying for all sins. Crazy. And now we have the opportunity to be in relationship with him. So that whole concept. But when he was sent, that was the picture of hope for us. And it's not something that is, I can be hopeful at times. Like, no, we have access to hope all the time. And for me, there's moments where I let hope be present if my situation allows it to be. If the circumstances align the way I want to, yeah, I'll be hopeful. Like, that's not really hope. Hope is present regardless of conflict. regardless of things making sense. And so for me, it's like, man, okay, I gotta be a great dad, great husband. You fill in the blank. Just wait, right? But if I'm reminded of like, no, I have hope in Jesus, and Jesus never changes. Therefore, my hope should never change. Then I'm good no matter what. And that reminder as we step into Christmas season, it shouldn't just be a Christmas season reminder. That's like should be a permanent reminder of like, hey, your hope is always there. Like I know that people walk through tough times. Like obviously we're not taking away from that. Like you're gonna go through tough times. Again, it is eternal life we're promised, not an easy life. So there's gonna be ups and downs, but regardless of the ups and downs, we should still have hope. Because we have a relationship with the Savior of the world, who happens to also be the Lord of our lives, or should be. It's like, wait, I know the Creator, and I know the Savior? What are we talking about? And again, it's that perspective shift, for me anyway, of, no, I can say I have hope. It's not based on how I feel. It's not based on what I'm walking through. It's based on who I know. Like in the nature of name drop, like we like to name drop all the time. It's like, well, brother, Jesus, right there.
Boom.
That's all I had to say.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you hopeful? Well, because I know the God of hope.
I know who hope is.
Yeah.
I know what hope is.
Yeah, and we talk about this often. Like hope is not a feeling; it's a person.
Hope is a person.
And we know him. And hey, he knows us.
Come on.
Like the crazy thing is that we would talk about name drop. What if I was like, yeah, I know Tom Cruise, but does Tom Cruise know you? No. Like I know Jesus, and Jesus knows me, and he knows me better than anyone will ever know me.
And
that's the
Tom
crazy
Cruise
part.
Choose to be like, hey, Brendan has these circumstances going on, but I'm gonna die in his place.
Yeah, TC's not doing that.
TC ain't
I don't
doing
know
that.
him like that. I don't know why I said Tom Cruise. Anyway. I don't even.
Sorry,
not a
Cruise.
fan of Tom Cruise. I'm indifferent on him, but no, but like seriously, that's the thing for me right now.
Yeah.
It's a reminder of something I've already known, but sometimes put that knowledge here under everything that's going on. When in reality, it's like, okay, everything going on, boom, hope.
That's good.
Hope should always be the lens in which we see the situation. Our situation shouldn't be the lens in which we see hope.
Come on. That's a bar.
So,
No, I mean, 'cause I love how you said that, wish and hope. Like they're not synonyms. They're not like interchangeable.
yeah.
Wish is kind of like a woe is me, like, I wish this was taking place. Hope is like, this is what's going on, but this is where my hope lies.
Yeah.
A wish is
for
like,
sure.
I wish my circumstance would change. I wish that I had this. Hope is like,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean we
man,
don't waver
honestly,
sometimes.
I honestly, in the past, always thought of hope as like, oh, why would I say that?
Hope this happens. No, it's
Yeah.
not that.
But it's because we've used it improperly.
We used it as a like wish.
Oh, wish this happens is what we should be saying. But
Hope is a person. The last episode, I had somebody on that were talking about heaven on earth, and I don't know how it came. It was like the place is a person too. Like heaven is a person. Hope is a person.
Mm-hmm.
The relationship is with. So that's fire. That was great. It's gonna help how I see hope all the time too. Thank you for that.
I hope it does. I'm sorry, that was bad. No, cut that one out. Cut that one out.
Highlight that moment.
Please don't. I hated it as soon as I said it.
The more you hate a joke, the more I love it. That's dad joke king, you know. But dude, I have another question. I just want to land the plane.
For sure.
One more question, but I just want to say, dude, just honor you for a moment. Like obviously for this episode, it was great. I had a lot of takeaways. I was listening, not taking notes, but I could have written a lot of stuff down from this episode. Even that hope concept, hope is a person, like a lot of other things you shared. It was rich to get to sit here and share and listen to your story more. Like I said, I've known you for a while, but like to hear deeper levels of your story was impactful to me. And yeah, dude, just who you are as a person, as a brother, as a friend, how I've seen you like love my family and love my kids and love my wife, and how I see you love Cameron and love Jensen, and how you show up. I've at times been a pretty inconsistent person in my own walk, in my own life. And I used to blame that on my wiring, but sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm just not showing up the right way. But you show up pretty consistent too, which is honorable, like in your workplace, but just like you could just see you're a consistent guy, and like you put a lot of value and weight in being consistent and doing the right thing, which is cool to see. It's honorable for me to see. I'm like, sometimes I'm very selfish. So to see you put yourself second in a lot of situations has been cool, but also just, yeah, especially seeing you grow to be a husband and a father now, like that new authority you got in your life because of those things. But because you're submitted to Christ, and like seeing you walk through trials too, because like I get the pleasure to know you well and know your flesh as well, like some of your faults, if you want to call it that. But like, I could have made a joke. Let's not joke. I'm honoring you right now, but no, like but to see you like get back up, keep walking, holding steadfast, running back to Christ, running back to like repentance, and be like, hey, Cameron, I dropped the ball here, but this is what I'm going to do from here. And like not turning away when you could have turned away, and not quitting. As someone who's also on a walk as a Christian, a husband, a father, it gets tough, man. It gets tough sometimes. You want to quit a lot. And I see people all around me quitting all the time. And so like you holding steadfast and not quitting and being like, obviously I know it's not in your own strength. That's the key here. But anyways, it's just honorable to be around. It's really cool. And I'm just really grateful that God brought us together and that we have that friendship and that brotherhood, that spiritual family, dude. And now, like, as you have Jensen, to see her get older and like play with my kids, like her little cousins, like that is gonna be special too. Yeah. So just thank you, man.
No, thank you.
Thank you for coming on today, but thank you for being a brother, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, man. But no, okay, last question. We shared a lot today, like even here, but this is just kind of a question I've been asking everybody. Like, hey, if you had to put it all into one message, if you couldn't say anything else for whatever that time, like, not to say you're leaving this earth, but if you just, if you could leave one message to Cameron, to Jensen, to me, to anybody, a stranger or the person you know the most, like, if you had one message to leave, like, you'd be like, this was my message. What would that be?
That's a great question. What would one message be? Man, I feel like this is going to be cliche, but I mean, it really has to be the answer. Allow Jesus to be the Lord and Savior of your life. And I'll explain why I'm saying that. Because again, like I said, it's such an easy thing to say. It's like, oh, of course, guy works at a church, of course you would say that. But I've been able to see what happens when we actually allow God to orchestrate our steps and we're not trying to figure out our steps. I would have never met my wife, for one. The story that I told, I had no desire to go to the school that eventually helped me to meet Cameron. So I wouldn't have known Cameron, which means everything that we just talked about would be different, which is kind of a mind-boggling to even think about that. But it's easier to allow Jesus to save your life. It's not very easy to allow him to be Lord of your life. But those have to be paired together for us to actually see the true life change that he has in store for us. I would say just if we trust him enough to save us, we need to trust him enough to lead us. And that's when all to culminate, you start to see heaven on earth, is when he's both.
Great, man. Great way to close it out.
I tried to tie it back to the
You did great. Brendan Boudreaux, my brother.
Come on.
Thank you, man.
Absolutely.